Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Ashtotar Tadashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Ashtotar Tadashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Upadeshamrita Ki Jai. Nectar of Instruction Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 10th day of December 2018 in SanDiego, a reading from the Sri Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction, by Srila Rupa Goswami, with translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So these are very long purports, so we've been breaking them up. We are in text 5 in the middle of the purport. We'll chant that again. I'll read the translation and go on with the purport. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet pradhanabhishcha bhajantam isham. Shushushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya. Nindadi shunya vidam ipsita sangha labdhya. Krishneti yasya giditam manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet pradhanabhishcha bhajantam isham. Shushushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya. Nindadi shunya vidam ipsita sangha labdhya. Go ahead. Krishneti yasya gaditam manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet pradhanabhishcha bhajantam isham. Shushushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya. Nindari shunya vidam ipsata sangha labdhya. Krishneti yasya giditang manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet padhana bhishcha bhajantam isham. Shushushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya. Nindadi shunya vidamipsata sangha labdhya. You want to try it? Krishneti yasya giditang manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet padhana bhishcha bhajantam isham. Tushushaya bhajana vigyaman anyamanya. Nindadi shunya vidamipsata sangha labdhya. Krishneti yasya giditang manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet padhana bhishcha bhajantam isham. Shushushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya. Nindadi shunya vidamipsata sangha labdhya. So we read this several times, so I'll just skip to the translation. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So we're in the middle of this purport, and we're at the point where Satyaraj Khan, one of Lord Chaitanya's associates here, is asking, how do I recognize a devotee? When Srila Satyaraj Khan, a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asked the Lord how a Vaishnav could be recognized, the Lord replied, Prabhu kahe janra mukhe shuni ekabar, Krishna nama se puja shrestha sabhakar. If one hears a person say even once the word Krishna, that person should be accepted as the best man out of the common group. This is from Madhya Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita 15:106. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, Ateva janra mukhe eka Krishna nam, seta Vaishnava karihatan vasaman. One who is interested in chanting the holy name of Krishna, or who by practice likes to chant Krishna's names, should be accepted as a Vaishnav and offered respects as such, at least within one's mind. This is Madhya 15:111. One of our friends, a famous English musician, has become attracted to chanting the holy names of Krishna. Who's that? Yeah, I think we read this already. We'll read it again. And even in his records, he has several times mentioned the holy name of Krishna. At his home, he offers respect to pictures of Krishna and also to the preachers of Krishna consciousness. In all regards, he has a very high estimation for Krishna's name and Krishna's activities. Therefore, we offer respects to him without reservation, for we are actually seeing that this gentleman is advancing gradually in Krishna consciousness. Such a person should always be shown respect. The conclusion is that anyone who is trying to advance in Krishna consciousness by regularly chanting the holy name should always be respected by Vaishnavas. On the other hand, we have witnessed that some of our contemporaries, who are supposed to be great preachers, have gradually fallen into the material conception of life because they have failed to chant the holy name of the Lord. I think contemporaries referring to his God brothers. While giving instructions to Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya divided devotional service into three categories. Shastra yukti nahi jane dridha shuddhavan, madhyama adhikari se mahabhagyavan. Hold on a second. Okay. We'll read to the end of the purport here. By rendering transcendental service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. This confident, firm faith, favorable to the discharge of devotional service, is called Shraddha. Shraddha, faith in Krishna, is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. Faith means strong faith. The words of the Bhagavad Gita are authoritative instructions for faithful men, and whatever Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita is to be accepted as it is, without interpretation. This was the way Arjuna accepted the Bhagavad Gita. After hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna told Krishna, Sarvam etad ritam manye yanmam vadasi Keshava. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Om jnana timirandasya jnanandana shalakaya chakshu unmidatam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance to him and all members of Sri Parampara. So I just wanted to point out here, Prabhupada says after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, but that verse you may recognize is from chapter 10, text 14. So that's not chapter 18. Chapter 8, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. So why does Prabhupada say after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he says it? Well, the Bhagavad Gita in one sense is complete at this point. Krishna has just spoken what we don't call them Chatra Shloka, but the four main verses of Bhagavad Gita, beginning with 10.8. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam bhavatate itimad bhavajantamam buddha bhava samanvata. Just as in the Bhagavatam, the first chapter of the Chatra Shloka, Krishna says, Aham evasam evagre, that before there was anything, I existed. And while everything is manifest, it is I only who exists through my energies. And after everything is drawn into my body, after the annihilation, I'll still exist. So basically he's saying, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the source of everything. This is the definition in the Vedanta Sutra. Janmad yasya yataha. That from which everything is born, by which everything is maintained, into which everything merges at the end. So the Krishna says the same thing at 10.8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam pravartate. In those two lines, he says, I produce everything, everything emanates from me. Now why does he say it that way? It seems redundant, right? Aren't they equivalent? Well, there's a slight difference in perspective. When Krishna says, I am the source of everything, you're beginning with Krishna, and then everything is manifest. But the second line, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam pravartate, is from our perspective. From our perspective. Everything we see is coming from Krishna. So either way you look at it, Krishna is the Supreme Person. The second half of the verse, the first half is sambandha. Really sambandha means understanding God, this world, ourselves, and the relationships between those three. That's sambandha. It's a very important topic. But it can be summarized by just Krishna. If you understand Krishna, then that means Krishna and his energies, and with the different categories of energies. So he's described sambandha in that one half a phrase. And the second one is abhideya. What is the practice by which you can realize this? So then he says, Ye bhajanti tamam aham sarvasya bhavavam mattak sarvam bhavatade. Balaram. Aham sarvasya bhavavam mattak sarvam bhavatade. Itimad bhajante mam buddha bhava samandi. One who understands this worships me with all his heart and all his intelligence. So that's sambandha. How does he do it? Second verse. Matchitta madgata prana bodhayantak parasparam katayantastamam nityam tushyanti chalamanticha. Just what we're doing here. First of all, they place their mind on me. That's always first. Manmana. Matchitta, by hearing and chanting, meditating, serving. Madgata prana, their life energy is directed to me. In other words, they've dedicated their whole lives to my service. Bodhayantak parasparam. They get together and discuss me. That's what bodhayantak parasparam means. Katayantas. They hear and chant. Always, nityam. And this way, tushyanti, uh-oh. Oh my God. This? Well, that's my ringtone. It's part of the class. Stop. I thought I missed a call. I mean, it's tomorrow. A big conference call, BBT call, but that's tomorrow, thank God. All right, let's see. I'm sorry, I should turn this off. I never get calls. This is the first one that's ever happened in 2 years at this time. But I'll turn it off anyway. Okay. So, where was I? So, Matchita Madgata Prana, Bodhayantak Parasparam, Katayantas, and they feel tushyanti. They feel great satisfaction by just glorifying together. And that the ideal means of that is Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan. That's Bodhayantak Parasparam. And ramanti, pleasure also. The satisfaction and ramanti, they enjoy this way. And what does Krishna do on his side? So that's practice. That's abhideya. And then priyojana is Krishna's response. So first he says, Tesham satadiyukta bhajatam priti purvakam. Those who are worshipping me in this way, Tesham means they, always linked to me by the process he just mentioned. I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. And then the last verse is more feeling. He says, Tesham evan akampa bharta, out of my compassion and mercy for them, I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness of ignorance in their heart. So the whole thing is right there in those 4 verses. Sambandha, abhideya, and the priyojana. And what does Arjuna say afterward? You know the verse? Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam, Purusham, Shastratam, Divyam, Maridev, Majam Vibhum. He says, I accept you as the Supreme Brahman, as the Supreme Abode and Purifier and all this. In other words, I accept, and then he says, I accept everything you say. So if he accepts everything he says, then let's get going with the fight. Krishna wants him to fight. But no. Then Prabhupada explains in the purports there, after Arjuna, but now please tell me how I can understand you, how people can understand you within this world. What manifestations can they see? And then we're back to kind of the first step in God realization, seeing God in this material world. And then Krishna describes, of bodies of water, I'm the ocean, of fish, I am the shark, and he gives a whole list, right? So the Gita is kind of complete after the Chaturshloki and Arjuna's response. But then Krishna goes into more detail in many of the subjects he's already spoken about. Like chapter 14, the modes of nature. Well, he mentioned that in the 7th chapter. Daivi Yesha Guna Mahima, right? But he goes into detail in the 14th chapter like that. So that's why Prabhupada says, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita. All right, I'll go on. This is the correct way of understanding the Bhagavad Gita, as Arjuna did. And this is called Shraddha, faith. It is not that one accepts a portion of the Bhagavad Gita according to one's own whimsical interpretations and then rejects another portion. This is not Shraddha. Do you remember what the technical term for that? No, the idea of accepting one part and forgetting the rest. It's called Ardha Kukadni Nyaya, the half-hen logic. There was once a foolish farmer who was getting profuse eggs from his hens, from this one hen especially. But he was thinking, how can I increase my revenue? He said, well, I have to feed the front end of the hen, and that's a minus. That's a liability, and I get the eggs at the back. So I'll just cut off the head of the hen, and I won't have to feed him anymore, and I'll just get the eggs. That was his calculation. In other words, then he had nothing. If you try to pick and choose from the Shastra, from Bhagavad Gita, the parts that you like, and then then you don't get the benefit of it. You have to take it as it's been presented as a whole. That's the idea. That's real faith. Shraddha means accepting the instructions of Bhagavad Gita in their totality, especially the last instruction, Sarva Dharmam Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1866. When one becomes completely faithful in regard to this instruction, one's strong faith becomes the basis for advancing in spiritual life. When one fully engages in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he gradually realizes his own spiritual identity. Unless one faithfully chants the Hare Krishna mantra, Krishna does not reveal himself. Sevan mukhe jivado swayameva spuratyada, which means the realization begins with the tongue. Atakshi Krishna, this first part of this verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Atakshi Krishna namade nabave grayam indriyai, that with our materially tainted senses, we cannot understand Krishna's name, form, qualities, and past. Nabave grayam indriyai, these indriyas. But sevan mukhe hijivado swayameva spuratyada, by beginning to serve Krishna, especially with the tongue, by chanting the holy name, tasting prasad, Krishna eventually, he reveals himself. This is the difference. You cannot force Krishna to reveal himself. He only responds to one thing, which is loving devotion, humble loving devotion, in line of the acharyas. So that's what this verse means. We cannot realize the Supreme Lord by any artificial means. We must engage faithfully in the service of the Lord. Such service begins with the tongue, Sevan Mukha Hijivada, which means that we should always chant the holy names of the Lord and accept Krishna Prasadam. We should not chant or accept anything else. Chant anything else or accept anything else. When this process is faithfully followed, the Supreme Lord reveals himself to the devotee in due time. When a person realizes himself to be an eternal servitor of Krishna, he loses interest in everything but Krishna's service. Always thinking of Krishna, devising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna, he understands that his only business is in spreading Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Such a person is to be recognized as an Uttama Adhikari, and his association should be immediately accepted according to the 6 processes mentioned in the previous verse, Dadati Pratigunadi, the 6 loving exchanges, giving gifts, receiving gifts, revealing one's mind, inquiring confidentially, and yes, giving prasadam and accepting prasadam. Thank you. Senior moment. Everything one possesses should be offered to him, Krishna. No, to the Uttama Adhikari. Indeed, the advanced Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava devotee should be accepted as a spiritual master. Everything one possesses should be offered to him, for it is enjoined that one should deliver whatever he has to the spiritual master. The brahmachari in particular is supposed to beg alms from others and offer them to the spiritual master. However, one should not imitate the behavior of an advanced devotee or Mahabhagavat without being self-realized, for by such imitation one will eventually become degraded. In this verse, Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttama Adhikari Vaishnav can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttama Adhikari. A neophyte Vaishnav or a Vaishnav situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttama Adhikari as a spiritual master. And Prabhupada described the Uttama Adhikari as one who is always thinking of Krishna, devising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna, and understands his only business is in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So this, that's the end of the purport, and I think instead of beginning the next verse, which requires that you have to write it on the board, we'll just review what we learned here. So in this verse, the whole thing is very compact. There's only 11 verses here. And there's several verses, the previous verse, this verse, and the next verse, which talk, out of 11, so it's a big percentage, which talk about how to relate to other devotees. And the previous verse was the one that we just cited, the 6 loving exchanges. Dadati pratagunnati guyamakati prichati bhunkte bhojayate cha sarvadam priti lakshanam. So Krishna consciousness is based on sangha, proper sangha, association. Where our mind, our consciousness is formulated by what and whom we associate with and how we associate. This is a wonderful section of Lord Kapila Dev's teachings, and right near the beginning of his teachings to his mother, which are 8 verses on Sadhu Sangha. And I've dubbed it the Sadhu Sangashtaka. So it starts out with he says, Prasangam madadam pasham atmana kavayo vidu sayeva sadashukato moksha dvaram apavatam. So this word prasanga appears throughout our literature. It appears twice in this ashtaka. Prasanga means very intense association, which affects you, either bad or good. So the first, because bad association, with the materialist will obviously infect your mind. So he says, prasangam ajanam pasham. This first word, he's speaking about all the associations and attachments that we've developed. See, sangha means 2 things. Association, as in satsanga, right? Satsanga, or sadhu sangha. Or the attachment that develops from the association. That's why Krishna says in the Gita, Dhyayado vishayan pungsak, sangasteshu bhajayate. As you meditate on something, you develop an attachment for it. And if you keep that, if that attachment gets stronger and more meditation, it becomes kama. It becomes very strong desire to enjoy something. So the whole point is, what do you think about? The mind is just like, checking everything out. The material mind. Where's something that's pleasurable? Go for it. Something that's painful, avoid it. Sankalpa vikalpa. But the intelligent devotee, or person, he guides the mind with the intelligence. Don't go there. Don't listen to that. Don't look at that. Don't associate with that person or that environment. Like 50 yards or 50 feet down the road, there's a bar, pizza bar, right? So when people come to this part of the city, probably more of them, percentage-wise, go into that bar than come here. They've made a decision. They probably don't even know that this is here, or if they know, it's just not on their radar. So that's the contaminated intelligence pushing them into the modes of nature. And you get so much sangha there, modes of passion, ignorance, very prominent. And you come out of there and you're contaminated. So, but if you happen to come here, then you get good association. So here he's saying, prasangamadaram pasham, all of these attachments that we've developed to bad association over many births, they're like strong ropes, tying the soul to the body and to the bodily concept of life. So he calls ajaram pasham. Pasham is a rope. So here we are with all these attachments. So he says, prasangamadaram atmana kavayo vidu. The kavaya, the wise soul, that same attachment, propensity for attachment, he directs toward the sadhus, toward the saints, the devotees. Atmana saeva sadhusukato moksha dvaram apavatam, and that opens up the doors to liberation. Mundane attachment keeps us bound to birth and death infernal, but love for sadhus opens wide the doors to life eternal. I made it in a little poem, so you can remember. Now the next question is, who is the sadhu? So the next 3 verses he defines the sadhu. It's a famous verse. Titikshava, karunika, sudidak sarvadehinam, ajata shattavakshanta, sadhavak sadhabhushana. Probably we often quote this verse. The first quality. Now the thing is, he doesn't mention in this verse devotional service. That's in the next verse. But here's the qualities that are developed. Very tolerant. Titikshava, karunika, and full of compassion for fallen souls. Sudidak sarvadehin, he's the friend of all living entities, not just the human beings, and not just his own clan, family, but all living entities. That means the animals, the cows, cow protection, even the insects, they wander in here, we try to get them out instead of stepping on them, right? So you realize every body, every organism houses a spirit soul, and they have a right to go through their allotted term, whatever body they have. So you're very aware of that. That's Suridak Sarvadehinam. Ajata Shatrava, has no enmity toward anyone. Shanta, and therefore very peaceful. No material desires and no enmity toward anyone. That's the way you can really be peaceful. Sadhavak sadhabhushana, these are the ornaments of a sadhu. Then how does he get them? Or he or she get them? Mayanannena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti yedvidham matkate chakta karmanas chakta swajana bandhava. Mayanannena bhavena bhaktim, devotional service, undeviated devotional service. In other words, they're pure devotees. Kurvanti yedvidham, engaging with great determination. And for my sake, this is Kapila Dev speaking, so he's Krishna. For my sake, they'll give up any activity that's an impediment. Matkate tyakta karmanas, and even intimate relationship with their family if they are impediments. You have to prioritize your Krishna consciousness is most important. So, and then what do they do? Marashriyakatam rishta shinbanti katayanti cha. Tapantiva vidastapa naitan mankata chetasa. They're always hearing and chanting the sweet vibrations about me. Manashraya. Manashraya here means those vibrations which have taken shelter of me, which relate to me. Katam rishta, very attractive. Shinvanti katayanti cha. And because of that, the miseries of this world, they transcend. They don't even feel them as much. And if you're really absorbed, you don't feel them at all. The mani vividastapa naitan mankata chetasa, because their mind's on me. Their mind has gone to me. So then he tells his mother, there's this play of words here, because his mother is Devahuti. And she's already super advanced. She gave birth to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But she takes the role of a conditioned soul, so he will instruct her. But she's really a sadhu. A female sadhu is called a sadvi. So he says, Tahete sadhavak sadvi. Tahete sarvasanga vivarjita Sangaste shratate prata, sanga dosha harahite. Beginning some of them. My dear mother, oh saintly mother, you have to search out these sadhus, because by their association, that association with them will eliminate all of the faults and bad effects of bad association you've had in previous lives and this life. In other words, it's a cleansing process. By that association, you'll hear and chant, you'll be able to serve, and all the things that's describing here. So he's encouraging you have to search them out. You know, of course, he's already sitting at the feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's instructing us as well. And then comes the most famous verse of the 8. Satam pasangan mama virya sambido bhavanti ritkana rasayana kata tajoshanara shrapavarga vartmani shraddharati bhaktiranu kramishiti. Here's the word shraddha again, see? Shraddha at the last line. So satam pasangan, here's the word pasanga. So the same intense attachment and association that we have with the material world, we have to have with the sadhus. So satam is the same as pasangan mama virya sambido. You will hear conversations and vibrations about my powerful activities. It's Kapila Deva Krishna speaking. Mama virya sambido and bhavanti ritkana rasayana kata. So this gives, it's like a rasayana. It's a life-giving elixir for your ears and your heart. This pure vibration about Krishna. That's the whole thing. You hear Prabhupada, chanting, that started the whole thing, chanting in that park and in the 26th 2nd Avenue. It entered the hearts, and those who were receptive, the hearts were transformed, and they became more interested. They chanted, they responded, and the whole thing began. And it's still going on that way. Satam prasangan mama virya. Virya means power, my powerful activities. Sambido bhavanti rit karna rasayana. Rit is the heart, karna is the ear. Rasayana kata, life-giving elixir, sweet. Tadjoshanat ashu, by practicing in this way, simply coming together, glorifying Krishna, kirtan. Ashu, quickly, apavarga vartmani, on this path of liberation, one develops shraddha, rati, and bhakti, step by step. The first is your faith increases. You remember in this purport, we didn't go over it again, but one of the ways of characterizing devotees in different stages is by their strength of their faith. When you first begin, it's komala shraddha. Your faith is very fragile. It can easily be lost or diminished. But at least you have enough faith to come through the door, listen to a class, see the deity, take prasadam, get a book. Very valuable. Now if you continue, you read the book, come back, your faith will increase. So here he's saying by this association, good association, your faith is nourished. And by that faith, your bhajan becomes more sincere and more determined. And so rati develops, attraction for Krishna, for the devotees, for everything. And finally bhakti, here referring to pure devotion, develops. Step by step, quickly. So then the last two verses, I might as well finish it. That was 6. So he says, asevayayam, bhakti, bhaktya paman jati viraga aindriya drishta sritarmad vachananu chintaya chittasya yato grahane yoga yukto yatishate vijubir yoga marga. Now the same thing is vijubir means easy, this easiest form of yoga. Although this is Satya Yoga, so the whole thing is meditation. But here we describe the form of yoga, which basically means just coming together, chanting Hare Krishna and listening to the Bhagavad Gita. In other words, that's it. You don't even have to spend anything. So that's the Vijubir. So it says, and by this process, Bhakti-Avan Jati Viraga Aindriya Drishta Shrutan, one develops natural detachment from all sense gratification. Aindriya means having to do with the senses. Both that which you experience in this world and that which you hear about, meaning going to the heavenly planets. By thinking, becoming absorbed in my activities, my lila. He's talking about Krishna lila, because Kapila Deva. In other words, that absorption in the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna erases, cleanses the heart of all of these attachments which keep us bound here. They're just like ropes. There's a beautiful verse by Rupa Goswami. He describes it in the introduction to his Lila Chanda. Lila Chanda is what a gift. It's a beautiful summary of Krishna's Vrindavan Lila. You can chant it and just remember the details, and then remember.
So at the beginning he has this verse, he describes this flow of glorification of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan as a great powerful river flowing from the hearts and through the mouths of the great devotees. So what's the result of this river? He says, Mulo kata vidhaya niba vatadora krishnanya trishnak shayat. That it uproots, imagine a strong tree growing on the side of the river, strongly rooted. But this powerful river will uproot that tree. That tree is birth and death. The tree of birth and death is uprooted by the river. How does it do it? Krishna anya trishnak shayat. By destroying the thirst for anything other than Krishna. It's a river of nectar. You drink that river and become indifferent to all material things. That's the whole idea, and that's what he's saying here in this Sadhu Sangashtika. So, bhaktya puman jati viraga eindriyan. Viraga means vairagya, detachment. Both everything you see here that you've experienced and seen on this plane, and you've heard about, means the heavenly planets. You're not interested, by absorbing oneself in my powerful activities. And in this way, the mind is controlled. Chittasayato grahane yoga yukto bhavishyati rijubir yoga magai. By practicing this easy process of bhakti. And the last verse, he says the final result. Asevayayam prakritya gunanam. By not serving the modes of nature in prakriti. Asevayayam prakritya gunanam jnanena vairagya vijrumbitena. And the development of knowledge and detachment. Jnana vairagya. Does that sound familiar? Yogena maya pitadacha bhaktya, by offering everything to me, everything, life, air, words, mind, everything, wealth, to me in bhakti, mam pratigatmanam ihavarunde, one attains me in this very lifetime. It's Kapila Dev speaking, the Lord Krishna. So there's your sadhu sangashtika. But it starts with understanding and recognize who is that sadhu that we really want to, sadhus that we really want to associate with. And that's what this verse is all about. But it starts here with this Krishneti Yasya, which means one chanting of Krishna, the name Krishna. You're on the street, you're chanting a holy name, somebody walks by and says, oh, there's the Hare Krishnas. That should cause a little flurry of ecstasy in your heart. Oh, they chanted the name, you see. So Prabhupada, by his efforts, he fulfilled Lord Chaitanya's prediction, that in every town and village my name will be heard. Now, okay, every single town and village, there's 7 billion people on this planet. But through the airways, through the internet, the name is spreading far and wide. And because there's a substance there. When you hear the name chanted with a little sincerity, it has an effect on the heart. You may not even know what's going on. Like Bhadran Ramesh was saying, somebody heard the chanting and he couldn't get it out of his head. Right? He listened to the party maybe for 30 seconds and went on. And then they had things vibrating in his head. He had to come to the temple or open that book he got, whatever. So that's why Lord Chaitanya says Vijayadeshi Krishna Sankirtan. All victory, total victory for the holy name. There will be total victory. It may take a little time, a few of our lifetimes, but what's that compared to the millions and billions of years that are passing in this one day of Brahma? So Rupa Goswami is giving us this very good advice, how to recognize the different levels of devotion and how to relate to them. If someone chants the name Krishna once, at least in your mind, offer obeisances. What a fortunate soul, and hopefully they can continue chanting. There was a time when we chanted the name Krishna first. I assume no one was born into the movement here, right? And by pursuing it, you would chant many more times than once. So someone who's actually taken initiation, one shouldn't physically offer obeisances. That's why we have our formal Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha. And those who are very advanced in the hearing and chanting, their hearts are pure, they're devoid of the propensity to criticize others. That's a sign of great humility, Then we should covet their association and hear from them and serve them. So the Kanishtam, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikari. Okay, any questions or comments on these points? Yes, Prabhu. Oh yeah, because we have an internet thing. We want the people to hear questions. Yeah, just speak into the mic. It's meant to be close to you. Yeah, real close.
Hare Krishna. Okay, yeah, I was just wondering, in the Purport Prabhupada says that the Uttama Adhikari is someone who's dedicated to spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. Then we hear in other places that the Madhyama Adhikari is engaged in preaching, whereas the Uttama Adhikari is like engaged in...
It's a question of
bhajam.
degree. Let's see. Okay, let me just get to the end, the last paragraph there. Yeah, I mean, the other definitions we have, you know, he sees the Lord in everything and everything in the Lord, you know, sarvabhut. Yeah. But here the definition is a little different that Prabhupada gives, so we have to go with that one in this context. And, where is it? Okay. Devotee should know that his own position, try not to imitate. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttama-adhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the perfection of Uttama-adhikari. Always thinking of Krishna, devising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna. He understands that his only business is in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. A person should be recognized in Uttama-adhikari. So that's our working definition in terms of you know, be willing to take initiation. But it's true that other elements have to be manifest too. They should be manifest over time. The great attraction for Vrindavan, for developing and understanding one's own relationship with Krishna. That's certainly there. Yeah, Prabhu.
In the Uddhava Gita,
Oh, yeah.
isn't this definition of Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari that Prabhupada gives in this purport, isn't it more or less extracted out of the Uddhava Gita in the 11th canto? Because there's a series of verses describing the different levels of faith.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, those verses are referred to in this section of the Sanatana Goswami's Shiksha. But there's two ways of understanding. One is by, you know, the Sarva Bhutesha Yakparshed Bhagavad Bhavam Atmanaha Bhutani Bhagavatyaman Esha Bhagavatotama. To see every one as in relation to with Krishna, see Krishna in everything and everything in relation. And also to see that everyone is a devotee of Krishna except oneself. That's the amazing thing. That's why Prabhupada says to preach, you have to come down to the Madhyama Adhikari, because you have to make distinctions. The Madhyama Adhikari has these four entities that he relates to differently. For Krishna, he tries to develop love. For God brothers and so forth, friendship, these 6 exchanges. For the innocent, you know, try to give them Krishna consciousness, be merciful. And for the out-and-out envious atheists, blasphemers, you avoid them. So that's the platform which you really have to preach. You can't spend all your time trying to, you know, convert or converse with those who are just out to blaspheme and criticize. Every year we experience on Rath Yatra LA. There's that corner. You don't spend too much time there. That was right near the Rose Center. You may remember it, on Venice Beach. And they always come out with their signs, you know. So we go around the corner. A few devotees are spending some time, but basically we just ignore them. And they, you know, somehow they never get tired of coming out. But so many people, innocent people coming to visit here, take a little prasadam, they can read, you know, those are the people you should spend your time with, trying to give them a book and more Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, that's the practical platform on which you preach. But the Uttama Adhikari is absolutely, you know, obsessed, if you will, with this idea of, you know, giving Krishna consciousness to as many people as possible. The mood is exactly like Prahlad expresses in those 2 verses near the end of his prayers. Oh my Lord, I'm not disturbed at all. I'm completely at peace, you know, and blissful, because any time, even in this material world, I can chant your glories and dive into an ocean of happiness. But I am in anxiety. Those who have turned their face away from you and are simply engaged in this maya sukhaya, this illusory sense gratification, my heart is burning with anxiety for them, you see. And so what's he going to do about it? He says, prayena deva munayo. For most part, those who are sages and yogis, they go off to the forest. They want to get away from the cities. Vijane means where there are no people, so they can meditate and get liberation. And he calls it mukti kama. It's a kind of a lust, just wanting one's own liberation. It means I want relief from all misery. You know, the hell with everyone else. You know, but he says, I can't do that. I can't give up these souls. I'm going to stay in the cities with them and preach. You know, and that's exactly the mood of this whole movement. Bhaktisiddhanta Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan, a peaceful place where he could have just chanted, in bliss, in order to undergo great austerities for us. So that's the real sign of the greatest devotees, those who sacrifice everything to give Krishna consciousness. And on that auspicious note, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.